In this video, we'll be covering results entry through the new high-risk work assessor portal. You can see in front of us we have an assessment event that's in progress, meaning we've started this assessment. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can see we have the assessment results section. Now in the assessment results section, we have finalized knowledge, finalized calculations, finalized performance, and we can see that the status of each of these types at the moment is finalized required. To finalize those assessment types, we need to start with one. In this case, we'll start with knowledge. If we hit the Finalize Knowledge Assessment button, we'll have a screen to select the assessment outcome. So we can either select completed or cancelled. If we want to enter results, we need to choose completed. Once we've selected completed as the assessment outcome, we can select save. So hit the save button and we'll be taken to the candidates page for the results. If we now quickly go back to the assessment event, what you'll notice is if we scroll all the way down, we can see that the status on knowledge has changed to candidate result entry required. Now, if you've started result entry and you've only done it partially, you've left the assessment event, you come back to it, instead of going through the entire finalized process, you can select the edit button on the right here and just go directly into the candidate result entry. So what we'll do now is we have our 4 candidates and we'll select the first one. We've got our candidate result entry screen. So we can see that in this case, knowledge started on the 20th of the 2nd at 7 o'clock. For our first candidate, we'll select competent. However, our choices are absent, competent, not yet competent, or cancelled. Let's go with competent. For the result to be entered, the EOI must be verified. So by selecting this box, you as the assessor are saying that you have checked the evidence of identity of that candidate. We'll select the time, and if we need to make any comments, we can make these comments. So an important thing to note about these comments is any comments that are made here will appear in the comments section of the candidate assessment summary once the assessment event is complete. These will be pre-filled for you, so you don't need to write them out. And once we've added our comment, we can hit the save button. You'll notice that now EOI has been verified, the result is competent, and we have the assessment types for that candidate. Let's go ahead and choose some results for the next candidate. So we'll go to our second one, and we'll select absent in this case. And you'll notice once we select absent, EOI verified does not, it's not selectable. So you can come down to the comments, and you can add a comment like, the candidate did not attend. And once you save, you'll see that that result is applied to the candidate. So if we keep going down the list, our next one is a not yet competent. We can verify our EOI, select an assessment time, and in this case we won't add any comments. We'll save that. And our final candidate, down the bottom, if we open this one, we can select the cancelled option. You'll see that once you select cancelled, you'll need to provide a reason. So under the reasons, you have a few to choose from. For example, the assessor sick, cancelled by RTO, cancelled by inspector, candidate unavailable, inclement weather. In this case, we might select insufficient identification. And we'll add another comment, hit our save button, and now we have a full set of results for our knowledge component. So if we return to the AEN and we scroll all the way back down to assessment results, you'll note that the status is results entry completed. Now to complete the assessment results portion of an assessment event, we also need to do the calculations and the performance. So if we head into the calculations, to finalize, it's much the same process. We'll select completed. Alternatively, if this needed to be cancelled, you could select cancelled, but in our case, we want to get through the results. And it's very much the same page as knowledge. You'll note that in the top here, you've got calculations results. And what we'll do in this case is select another competent. We'll verify the EOI, but we'll select a same time. Now, if I save, what you'll notice is you'll get an assessment error that tells you that this time is incompatible with that candidate's time for knowledge. So knowledge and calculations cannot overlap. In this case, we need to have the calculation starting at 7:30 and maybe ending at 8 o'clock. So keep in mind that your knowledge and your calculations, while they can start at the same time, the assessments themselves, the start and the finish times must be separate. So we'll go ahead and save that. And then we'll quickly go through and add results to all the other candidates. So let's do our second one. We'll select another competent. We'll verify the EOI. We'll select the same time and we'll save that. Now, if you bear with me for a moment, I'll fill out the other two and then we'll move on to the performance results. So just quickly on this one, we'll save our third candidate and just our final one to go. We'll do the last competent, select the same time and hit our save button. So you can see now we have 4 competent candidates in calculations, and if we head back to the AEN, we now have the status for knowledge and calculations as results entry completed. At this point, you can head in and do the performance results entry. Now, important thing to note about performance results entry is that you must finish the knowledge and the calculations results entry for every candidate before you can enter performance results. So once we're ready to enter performance results, we can finalize that assessment by hitting the finalize performance button. You'll also get an orange banner text here. It'll tell you, note, performance results cannot be entered until knowledge and or calculations results are entered and saved for all candidates. So if we select completed and we select the save button, we'll be taken to a performance results page. I think to note here is that we have one extra option, which is a 2-day assessment, and we have our candidates. Now, if we had an assessment that ran for 2 days or had LOC approval to run on a different day, we could potentially select 2-day assessment and we can choose a date for that assessment event. So you'll see that here in our calendar, our assessment started on the 20th. The dates that we can select is anything after the first date up to now. In our case, we can just select the following day. Once we've selected a 2-day assessment, I can show you the performance results entry. So if you don't have 2-day assessment events, or if this is not applicable to the assessment event that you're doing, you would just leave this unselected. When ready, select the candidate, and it's much the same. We can select the competent result for this candidate, and automatically day 1 is applied. Now, if you had a candidate that attended the performance assessment on day 1, you can leave it as day 1. If they attended a performance assessment on day 1 and day 2, you can select both, or if needed, you can select just day 2. In our case, we'll just leave it as day 1 for this. We'll verify the EOI, and we'll put in a time. You'll notice that I specifically chose a time that overlaps the calculations. So if we save, you'll see we have a different validation here. In our case, performance didn't start until 8 o'clock, which means we cannot put a time until the performance event starts. So the earliest that we could put in this case is 8 o'clock, and we can say that it went until 9 o'clock. Please keep this in mind when you're planning your assessment events. If you plan performance to start at 8 o'clock, results entry will not let you start the results until 8 o'clock. So if you start the performance assessment event at 7:30, it'll become problematic for your results entry. Once you have your assessment times, you can hit the save button, and you'll see that we now have the EOI verified, result of competent, and we have our assessment times. You'll notice that on the performance results entry, we have an extra button down the bottom right here, and that is clear results. The reason for that is that knowledge and calculations results cannot be edited once performance results have been entered. In the event that you need to edit the knowledge and the calculations results, you can simply clear the performance result, and be aware that once you hit this button, it will clear all performance results for all candidates. At that point, you can head back to the knowledge and the calculations results and you can enter those. In our case, we'll leave them and we can head back to the assessment event. Before we do, you'll notice that any candidates that had knowledge and calculations results which are incompatible with them attending a performance assessment, will automatically populate the result as not eligible. This means that you will not be able to enter results for candidates who are not yet competent in a knowledge or a calculations assessment type, and then also in this assessment event for performance. So once our results are done, we can hit return to AEN and we'll be taken back to the main page. At this point, we've entered our plant details. We've entered all of our results. We can see result entry completed for all of our assessment types. If we hit save, we'll persist that data, or alternatively, we can also hit complete to finish this assessment. And once we do, we'll be taken to the candidate assessment summary. We'll have a notification in blue that the AEN has been successfully completed.